Let's first go to the expand your applications now, and let's go to WVB admin, and let's first get that taken care of. And then, so if you go to your, so let's take a look at that. Your config, everything's ready for production. There's nothing in there that you don't.
Yep, I have updated the.
Okay, and you got your vaults, your app vars. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so.
This is the prod.
Okay. And that's vaulted, good to go. Okay, great. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is, so this should be production ready, right? It has all the prod keys it needs, it has everything it needs. There's no references to anything in here that is explicitly non-production. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna merge this into the master branch, right? So I like to do this on GitHub so we can see what's going on here. So, yep, bring in the WVB admin app. Yep, great. So you're going to go up to the top and you're going to go to pull requests. And you're going to say new pull request. And you're going to hit the compare and you're going to change that to your acceptance branch. Nope, not your base. Nope, other way around.
Base is
yep, it's what you're pulling into. So you're pulling acceptance into master. So we can go ahead and take a look and see what's in here and if this looks like more or less what we want to do. So all your files and stuff will be listed in here. So we're getting rid of a default files. We're putting in actual stuff. This covers everything you wanted to do, right? So I think we're good. Your vaults, everything's there. We see the prod vault. Yep. Okay. So let's go ahead up to the top and say open a new pull request. Or create pull request, yep. Yep. And then you're going to change your comment up at the top. So I would call this just 1.0. And you can call it like first prod deployment or something like that, right? We don't have to, there's no changes really here. This is just the first time we're doing a deployment, so you don't have to be too explicit about it. Okay. So go ahead and say create pull request. All right. So now, in the world we have today, you are allowed to merge your own pull requests, right? So you can do this whole process yourself. Later on, we will probably shift to more of a only certain people can do pull requests into master and require multiple of those people to sign off on it. So it's a trusted thing, right? So you're saying, look, you know, the people who own this repository have signed off on it. More than one person agrees that this should be master. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and say this. So go ahead and hit the little drop down next to merge pull request. Nice. Yeah. So there's options here. So you can create, and that's just a regular pull request. You can also do what's called a squash, where you can say, look, for merging into master, I don't care about keeping track of all these different 19 commits that were involved in this. I just want to merge it. So for now, we'll just go ahead and say create a merge commit. But later on, we may, again, we got to think about this. We may change our procedures so that the history is a little cleaner and say that we might squash. But for now, just go ahead and say create a merge commit. So yep, hit merge pull request. And that's fine. Go ahead and confirm. Now, because acceptance is done, you should not need this branch anymore, right? We don't need a release candidate 1.0 branch. We have a 1.0. So if you scroll back down, you can hit delete branch. In this case, that release candidate 1.0, this is 1.0. So if you have to make more changes to acceptance, guess what? Now you need to make an acceptance RC 1.1 because we are now locking in 1.0. So you can go ahead and hit that delete branch there.
So you're saying that if we want to make any changes, let's say for the acceptance, then we need to create 1.1 branch.
Right, because what we have in acceptance right now, release candidate for 1.0, right? We're saying now, the process we're doing now is saying 1.0 is now set in stone. We know what 1.0 looks like, right? So any changes we make are not to a release candidate for 1.0, they'd be a release candidate for 1.1 or 1.01 or 2.0 or something, right? So we can go ahead and delete that branch. That shouldn't be necessary anymore. Okay, so now we're going to do the release itself. So up at go back to the code tab, and then over on the right, we're going to create a new release. Nope, far right, down in the middle. Yep, there you go. So you're going to choose a tag, and that tag is going to be 1.0. Yep, create new tag 1.0 and publish. And the title can also be 1.0. Yep, master is where we want it. Okay, and then again, just like we did for the commit or the pull request, we're going to describe the release. And you can say first production release, right? This is just 1.0. There's no meaningful changes to keep track of. And then you can say publish release. So what this does is now in the master branch, there's a release, a 1.0 release. And this release will always be 1.0 and it's locked in this point in time, right? So you can make a future change to production and call it 1.1, 2.0, 1.01, whatever, right? But you can always come back to 1.0 and know exactly what 1.0 means. So that's what the releases are for. Okay. So we have our 1.0 release of the app. Now we need to do our we need to do the proxy, okay?
Proxy.
Right. Now this one, there's an extra step. We aren't going to merge straight into master because there is stuff in the master branch or in the acceptance branch that refers to acceptance versions. So go ahead and change your dropdown to acceptance, or your ACCP 1.0 or RC 1.0. Yep. Now you're going to create a new branch from this. So hit the dropdown again, and we're going to create So find or create a branch. We're going to call it released _ 1.0. And create it from, perfect. Create it from that branch. The reason we do this is, like we said earlier, there should never, ever be anything in the master branch that isn't production ready, right? So we don't want to push stuff into production where your proxy.yaml file talks about acceptance stuff, right? So what we're going to do now that we have this release 1.0 branch is we are going to go in and edit the proxy.yaml with your production versions, right? So you can do it straight in here if you want to, or you can do it back on VS Code, whatever you're more comfortable with. So on VS Code, you're just going to go to whichever you want. So so VS Code, you need to check out that new branch first. So hit the little refresh down at the bottom. Yep. Or you can go to your code tab, whichever one you want. And then you should have a release _ 1.0 branch available to you now. Nope. Okay, go back. Maybe we're looking at the wrong thing. So go to your code. Nope, it's fine.
Hey, you want me to go here?
Yep.
Okay.
Go up to the code tab in the top left. The code. Yep. The source control view. Yeah. And then hit refresh on your proxy WBB admin.
Proxy.
Yep. And then see if the release branch is available. What? That's weird. Let's go back to GitHub. Release 1.0. This is the right Ansible proxy. It's bizarre. Why can't you see that? Go back to VS Code. We should be able to see this release 1.0 branch.
VS Code.
Yeah. Try checking out a different branch and then I just wonder if something's stuck on the proxy. Nope, you're good. Up at the top where it says ACP RC 1.0 or over on proxy WBB admin, yeah, you can just click there. And let's just switch to development. And hit refresh again. Hit the, That's weird. I wonder if there's another command. Let's see what some of this is going. Okay, do this. Click the three dots next to proxy WPB admin. Yep. Do pull push and do a fetch. Yeah. Now see if you can see that branch. There it is. Okay. So you're going to check out your origin release 1.0 because it doesn't exist locally. Yep. Okay. So now we can edit this. So we're going to do is change that version. The others we're all happy with, so we're going to change the WBB admin version to the version we just created, which was what? What did we make?
Underscore 1.0.
Just 1.0. Just like the other ones, right? And so what that version value does, you can put three different things in that version value. You can put a release, you can put a branch name, or you can put a specific checkout ID. So 1.0, we're going to be telling it, you're going to pull release 1.0. The other ones are already at their latest production versions, right? So we don't have to change those at all. So we'll save this, commit it, and then we can merge this branch into production. Because now this branch is production ready, right? So
Zero is the production, right?
What's that?
This is the production one, right?
Right, exactly. We just made this one, right? WBB admin 1.0. So that's production. So you can say, updated WBB admin app version to 1.0 or whatever, just to indicate changed it to production.
Now we want to go back to Git.
So, let's go back to Git, and we're going to merge this branch into production. We're going to do a pull request. Yep, so you can do it there, or you can go up at the top and do a pull request, either one. So you can say new pull request, or you can say compare and pull request. So that's just Git popping up a thing saying, hey, something just changed here. If you want to do a pull request, you could do it. So we're going to do that release. Whoop, no, you had it. Nope, other one. So the one on the left is the one you're pulling the changes into, right? So we want to pull the changes from release 1.0 into master, is what GitHub is trying to tell you here. So that's correct. So let's take a look, and especially, so now if we look at proxy.yaml, it's 1.0, right?
Right.
So now there should be, so let's do a quick review and scroll down and just make sure there's no references to acceptance or intag or anything like that. I see good replacement of session cookie names and stuff like that, so that's good. Looks good to me. So let's go ahead and create the pull request.
That should be still 1.0.
Yep. Yep, we're just basically, again, initial commit, we don't have to justify ourselves much, right? We're just saying, hey, look, this is the first production deployment, right? We don't have to get into too much detail. Okay, so now go ahead and say create pull request.
Merge pull request.
Yep. And that's fine. And we can delete the release 1.0 branch. We don't need it anymore.
Right now, because all the things we need.
All the changes are in master, right? So, and now we're going to go ahead and do our release. So go up to the top and go to code, and then over on the right where it says releases, and we're going to say 1.0. We're going to choose a tag and call it 1.0. And hit that create new tag button. Yeah. And then again, we're just going to describe it as, first production release or whatever. Whatever you want to say. Again, we don't have to justify ourselves too much. It's brand new. So when we did the app, we didn't have to do a release branch, right? Because there was nothing in the app that was non-production specific. But when we did the proxy, we did that intermediate release branch step because we never want anything in production that isn't production ready, right? Nothing in production should ever refer to a non-production branch. Okay, so there you go. Looks good. So go ahead and hit publish. All right. So now you have a 1.0 branch. So now you should be able to do, and you'd have to do this on the, because remember for production, you have to use the production automation server, right? So you'll do a git mer, when you clone your proxy, you're going to say 1.0 is the version you want, right? Not ACCP. You want 1.0, and it should all just work when it comes time to do your production release. So that's done. We can do it now if you want to. If you want to go to the production automation box and pull it down so it's ready to go, and it works. So this is non-prod. I mean, you can pull it down on the non-prod automation box if you want, but when it comes time to actually deploy in production, you got to connect to the production server. But it's fine. That's fine. You can do the clone here. It should work the same way.
But how could I go to the production box here right now on the non-prod?
So you should have. Open a new Visual Studio window. So go to File, up at the top, say New Window, and then when the connection thing comes up in the bottom, go ahead. Click the connection thing in the bottom left. Yep. And say, what is it? Connect current window to host.
Active host.
Yep, sure, that's fine. And choose, you don't have the prod automation box in here. Okay, right. You need to get your prod automation box configured. So go ahead and hit escape here. And then go click the remote thing again. And then say open SSH configuration file. And then let me put in chat what you need to put in there. So it's a different server because we don't want the non-prod one to have access to. Here, let me. So add that to the bottom of your file. Just change your username.
You can hit team chat.
Yep. You should see it in the meeting chat.
Okay. Copy. Should be good.
Yep. So now down at the bottom, you can change you should be able to pick the prod box.
Connected host and
Yep.
the production.
It's Linux. Yep. First connect, it'll ask you.
Password. Oh, come on. It should be good.
Okay, now you're connected, so you can try your git clone from here.
So I agree.
Nope, just open you shouldn't need to do any git work on here. It's purely Ansible, so open a command.
You want to activate?
Yep, you activate all the same way. Yep. And then you should be able to do a git clone.
Proxy cloning is wp admin. All branch. Now it would be 1.0.
1.0. Yep, just 1.0. Yep.
0, and it's enter now.
Yep.
And it's 1 HP. So on the production box, you just need to run the Ansible, the git clone, and then just do the execute, run the query to deploy it.
Yep. So this should clone. If it is cloned cleanly, you should be all set for your production release.
And when I am deploying that, like, whenever we do give the Ansible query, check, do I need to do 1.0 production anyway?
Nope. So it's just whatever you've cloned. So you just need to do your Ansible build. You just need to specify the production inventory, right? And say, look, I'm cloning to prod, or I'm running the proxy playbook against prod, right? But you don't need to specify 1.0 or anything, because that's what you just pulled down. You just specified that in the clone step when you were pulling your release.
Right. And so I just pasted the command which I use. So instead of internal unit, I need to just put internal underscore prod.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. That's exactly it. That's all. And then also the folder. So you'll see it says inventory/unit/internal unit. You'll say inventory/prod/internal under prod. Yep, so just change a couple of paths and you'll be good to go.
Okay, sure. I will. So one more thing, Ken, I was thinking today morning, right, about that which branch I'm using for sales prospector. So I think I did use acceptance 1.0. So I just want to make sure. Can I just share my?
Yeah.
Let me share this.
Right, yeah. So Shravan asked if he could tell what he had deployed to acceptance before, because it had been a little while, right? So the automation tools create a bunch of metadata stanzas in the configuration file that include everything about what you requested be built, right? So it'll tell you what you did.
Okay, I'm logging to my yes.
What are you looking for, Shravan? I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay, you're bringing it up there. Yep.
The acceptance.
Yep.
So I need to log into external 9200.
We should clean up your your inactive ones. Yep.
Right. So you mentioned metadata.
Yep. So there's several. So there we go. So automation metadata. So there's one for the proxy itself. So you can see the version there. That's what you requested when you did your git clone, right? So when you did your git clone, you told it to pull ACCP RC 1.0. The specific commit that this is built off of is listed there. So each time you do a commit in Git, it gets a GUID basically associated with it, right? So that is the specific commit. That is the point in time. You could search GitHub for that. You could tell it, I want to see exactly what it looked like at this commit, and it'll show you. And then you have another one for the inventory. We're saying, hey, the inventory you asked for is external. The version is master. It always tries to pull just whatever's latest in master for inventory. And your commit was this, right? And then you have another one, metadata for your apps, saying here's so you did base proxy versions 1.04 and sales prospectus, the app was ACCP _ RC _ 1.0. So the same name as the proxy. And then you did it with Ansible 2.11.12.2, which is just what we're running. So yeah, so that's what those tell you. So you can know what your build was based on, even if you don't remember it. It's all in there.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I will follow the same steps for sales perspective. First, I will go to app and then do the same steps which you did. And once after app, I will need to proxy create a version.
A release branch, right? Yep. So in proxy, you create a release branch. You merge acceptance into the release branch. You make your edits in that release branch. And only when that release branch is what production should look like, then you merge that into prod and create your 1.0 release. Right?
Right.
Okay. Again, and just think to yourself, the whole concept is that there should never be anything in the master branch that is not production ready. And how do we achieve that? This is how we achieve that. So.
Got it.
All right.
And in case any issues, like let's say our application team in the last minute comes up, then again we need to update that, create a new release.
Right. Which is why we exactly right. Because once we commit to a release, that is set in stone. Right. That is the 1.0 release. So if there's changes between now and then, there shouldn't be. Right. But if there are at this point in time, then yeah, you need to do an ACCP-RC 1.1, and then go through that whole process and then release to 1.1 again, which is why initially we were saying even in acceptance we wanted versions to be locked in stone. But we found over time that the teams test too much in acceptance, right? So we did like those ACCP branches, and that was our compromise to say, look, this way we can just go in and edit stuff, but once we promote it to production, that's production. That's 1.0. Any future changes are going to need a new release. So that means a new acceptance release branch that you can still edit as much as you want between now and when you do that production release, but it can't be 1.0. It's got to be 1.1 or 1.01 or 2.7 or who knows what, right? But you can't. Now that 1.0 exists, you need a new acceptance branch too. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So if you want to hold off on doing the other 1.0 branch until, if you think they're going to make changes between now and then, you can be like, look, we're not going to do this yet. We're going to wait until Thursday or whatever, and then do this work. It's up to you. So, kind of use your judgment on where you think they are.
I mean, I've joined today too. Now again, they say like, oh, we didn't do the full testing till now in acceptance. I mean, like it's been more than a month, and then you come in the last minute.
So yeah, if you want to wait a few days, that's totally fine. I would just suggest doing it Thursday and not Friday in case there are issues, right? Give yourself a day in case there are problems and you need, me to come in or someone else to take a look at it or something, just so that there's time to fix things. So, all right?
Okay. Yep, I will do for the sales prospectus on Thursday.
Okay.
I hope I don't fall into any issues, but if I do, then I'll be.
Yep, just let me know. And remember that when you do the production release, you have to do it from the prod automation box because the non-prod box can't talk to production inventory. There's no firewall rules there. So, all right?
Okay. Yep, okay. Thank you.
Okay.